Crooked Creek Lake is a man-made reservoir and is one of 16 flood damage reduction projects in the Pittsburgh District of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. It is located 30 miles northeast of Pittsburgh in Armstrong County, western Pennsylvania. On this map, you can see at the bottom Freeport, Leechburg, and Vandergrift, and at the top, Ford City. The dam is located about 6.5 miles above the junction of Crooked Creek with the Allegheny River near Ford City, Pennsylvania, and the dam provides flood protection for the lower Allegheny and upper Ohio rivers. The dam was completed in 1940. You can see how the lake got its name, with the lake looking kind of like a Chinese dragon. The dam is at the top, the north end, and the boat launch in the middle. That's where we'll be beginning our trip today. And Crooked Creek flows in from the south at the bottom. My plan was to start at the boat launch and go up Crooked Creek a mile or two, turn around and come back to the boat launch. That's the route marked out there with the red arrow. It's one thing to look at a map and even an aerial photograph like this, but there's this little peninsula, this little thin strip of land that separates Crooked Creek from a lagoon. That strip is marked out in green here. And that is what confused and befuddled me on this day. And instead of taking the route outlined in red up Crooked Creek, I instead took the route outlined by the yellow arrow along the lagoon. And I'll show you how things panned out. Let's get started. The mouth of Crooked Creek is in that little notch straight ahead, but instead of heading for there, I chose to go to the right, where those other kayakers are, and continue on from there. So I totally missed Crooked Creek, the creek proper.
Well, found a nice shady spot here. Just take a break. Crooked Creek Lake. Worked here one summer as a park naturalist, giving tours, showing movies in the evenings. It was the summer of 1975. And I got around the lake, but I don't think I was ever on the water. I think this may be the first time that I have actually been floating on the water at Crooked Creek Lake. I was at the dam. I was even in the control house of the dam, all around the different park buildings, but never on the water. So this will be a good day. A little bit windy today. It was cloudy this morning, but the wind picked up. The wind was at my back coming this far. I'm only about half mile. And I think I'll have a little bit more effort on the way home. So let's go on a little bit further.
Crooked Creek Lake, being a flood control project, has a lot of snags and logs and debris along its edges and even in the middle of the lake, because the water goes up and down so drastically. The water level can rise and fall behind the dam by more than 80 feet. And in the summer, the lake is about 5 miles long and covers 350 acres.
The water's really shallow through here. There's spots on any flood control lake that are real shallow. But as long as I have maybe a half foot of water, like it is here, I can still get through these tight spots.
Well, I said as long as I have at least a half foot of water, I can get by, but here I have a little less than half foot of water, and I'm doing some pulling. The bottom of the kayak is scraping along the mud there. You can see how much mud is coming up from the tips of my paddle. Fortunately, this stretch only lasted about 15 yards or so before the kayak refloated and I was able to move on my way again.
Yeah, with this wind, I've got the skeg down, helping me keep in a straight line. And I'm kind of out in the middle of the lake. It's a bit unusual for me since I've been on streams so much, so this is just a little bit unfamiliar territory. Still got the wind at my back, so hopefully that'll die down this afternoon, or it'll be a little harder heading home. Heading up toward the mouth of Crooked Creek, where the creek enters the lake, its namesake lake.
You heard me mention the skeg. That's a small fin that you can drop down at the back of the boat that helps keep the back of the boat from skidding sideways when there's a crosswind. Now, there's a small lever on the right side of the cockpit that you push forward and back to raise and lower the skeg. There, I'm raising the skeg because I'm making a turn. With the skeg down, it's more difficult to turn, but I figured I needed the skeg, so there I pushed the skeg back down again.
I think on the way home I'll stick to that far shore over there. Maybe the water will be a little deeper and maybe stay sheltered from the wind a bit. Overall, it's a beautiful day to get out. Temperatures probably in the low 70s. Humidity's not real high. Good time to be out on the water. Of course, any time is. Pretty shallow through here as we're nearing the end of the lake, coming up on the mouth. When we're coming to a new place, it's always a guessing game as to where the stream goes, and I think I guessed wrong. This is just a blind cove. Oh well.
Seems like in most of my videos there's at least one or two scenes that show me eating. You think that's all I do during a trip, but it's important to keep your energy level up. And I do enjoy my snacks and try to stay hydrated.
Taking a rest in the shade for some nourishment.
Bit of a wind. Glad I got the skeg down.
Trying to get into the shelter of these trees here. It's a little better. Not going to stop here. A whole bunch of poison ivy. Well, it turns out that I wound up going up the wrong leg of the lake. I went up a blind cul-de-sac, and Crooked Creek proper is over that way, about 100 yards. Too bad I just can't skip over the trees and land here. Quite a bit of wind here. I'm still concerned about getting back, so instead of going up Crooked Creek a ways, I'm just going to head back to the dock, save my energy, and head back home from there. You can see the gusts of wind coming up on the water. I learned that from my sailing friend back in high school. Used to go up Lake Arthur, Moraine State Park, Western Pennsylvania. There was a little day sailor sailboat Taught me a lot about being on the water, about knots, ready about helms a lee, about reading the wind on the water.
I named my boat Spokój, which is the Polish word for calm, peace, tranquility, and quiet, which is what I was certainly experiencing on this day. That's about the fourth misdirection that I've taken. You think it would be easy to know where you are on a lake, but with this flood control lake, the water levels go up and down. If the map was drawn with the water level high and then you're there when the water level was low, the map isn't accurate or correct, and vice versa. And that's what I found today. There's no real clear channel for Crooked Creek as it enters the lake, much like there's no clear channel for the Mississippi River as it flows down through New Orleans. You just have to pick a channel and hope it's the right one. Water's really shallow here. Tip of my paddle is touching the water. Fish was bumping up against the bottom of the boat. Oh, that's hilarious. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Great day to be out.
Yep.
And coming back into the boat launch, I was grateful to be out on the water, but also grateful to be back on the land. Since I decided not to get out of the boat and have lunch somewhere along the shore of the lake, after I got out of the water and put the boat on the trailer, I decided to go up into the picnic grove of Crooked Creek and have my lunch there. Again, another scene of me eating. It was at this point a bug flew over my head, scared the bejeebers out of me, thought it was a helicopter flying overhead. As it turned out, it was an eastern-eyed click beetle. Click beetles get their name because of their ability to arch back and, with a loud click, snap their bodies to right themselves after getting turned over. These large and imposing insects are harmless, and the two large spots are not eyes, but merely a ruse for scaring away potential predators. Adults feed on nectar in the hardwood forest areas, and their larvae is known as wireworms and live in rotting stumps and logs where they feast on other insects.
Well, it was a good day overall. Different conditions. Every time you get out, it's another chance to learn, gain a little experience. Just always see the wildlife, the herons, the bald eagles, fish. Feel the wind on your skin, sun on your face. It's good. It's good to get out. So what did I learn today? Well, I learned that I have good equipment and know how to use most of it pretty well. And I'm having fun making YouTube videos and sharing my experience with my friends. So that's all I have from Crooked Creek Park, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in western Pennsylvania, just north of Vandergrift. And have a pleasant day.